struggled with that.
Oh, all right, okay, yep. Actually, you can make the motion. Just
Are
abstain.
we ready?
You can make, yeah.
Good evening. Call the meeting to order. Ask you to rise and join us in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
welcome to all of you in attendance here this evening and those viewing us at home. We have to go a little out of order. We have to go to item 4, just scheduled public hearing. We're supposed to start at 7:05 for the Ginger Gourmet Restaurant, common victual and all alcohol license application. Is the applicant here? You please, yes, please. Can you identify yourself? And I see that you have another gentleman with you. Both
My name is Peter Lim. I'm the attorney for the applicant. With me is Mark Zane, to be the new general manager.
Thank you. All right.
What my son proposes to do is to build a first-class sit-down restaurant on Main Street, serving Asian, Japanese, and Chinese food, and sushi along with that. So part and parcel of that is the application of the liquor license for a license to complement the meal. So basically, the alcohol served is served to complement the meal and not a bar itself.
Okay, I just want to stop you for a moment.
Yeah.
We received the packet that you submitted with your application. It seems to me, and I don't know how the rest of my fellow board members feel, seems like your application for the alcohol license is just a little premature. It seems like you haven't got your approvals from the other various town boards and committees, police, fire, conservation, I believe, CPC.
Building and
Right.
health.
Building and Health Department. Thank you, Mr. Prisco. So,
What we plan to do is to submit applications to all the other departments right after this hearing.
but
Right.
the concern I have is say if we take some action tonight and we deny you, where does that put you?
But then we have to terminate the lease. Part of the lease requirements that we get approval for the liquor license.
Right.
If we
But-
don't get that, there's no sense to open a restaurant.
And on the other side of the coin, if we grant it, and if for some reason you don't get your permits from the other departments in town, we'll have a liquor license out there that we've approved, but you have no location in which to serve alcohol in.
Well, you can do that subject, be contingent, well, the way I would say is that you can approve for a contingent license, subject to approval from the various departments.
I don't know how the other board members feel, but I would suggest this for discussion, board members. I think it may be best if we postpone this hearing on your application until the various town boards and committees grant you or deny you your permits and what you need in order to build out that location. I don't know how the other members feel. I just believe it's premature for an alcohol license at this time.
I feel the same way.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for us to approve a liquor license when nothing else has been approved. I mean, you'd have a permit from the health department to put a restaurant there, or from the building department to do your construction, so it'd be difficult for me to approve.
Can I say something? We have done it
the 3 restaurants in the past. Then normally is how we do is the first stage is we'll make sure we have a liquor license before we start construction or doing the work to set up. So basically, number 1 is we have a lease sign.
We do.
Yeah, which is.
We have it.
Yeah.
We have a copy.
Okay, we have a lease sign, and then we get approved. Submit the application for the liquor license. And once we get approved for the liquor license, then we file for the building permit. That usually takes us about 4 or 5 months to get everything done. And I just like.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking for you to do the work. I'm looking for a set of plans to be submitted to the building department, and the building department and the health department approve your plans and the fact that a restaurant's going there. So we're not looking for you to say, do the build out and take 5 months to do it, and then we'll decide if we're gonna approve the liquor license. I think it's have all your ducks in order and have building department, health department, and all the other departments that require, it's fire, and then decide, once you get all the approvals, then you can come back to us. That's what I'm getting out of it.
But the health department, they will not issue us the license until we have everything
set.
complete.
Right.
So I'd like to show you the little bit and the restaurants will be going to be done. So we have to get everything done like that, finished, and then the Board of Health will come in for the inspection, and they will issue us the license.
Mr. Prisco?
Now, I think maybe we'll just point out a few other things for you. What we're looking at is that a septic system, we hear there's going to be a septic system
That would
being
be in
installed.
the middle of this month.
So we want to make sure a plan is submitted and the plan is approved. We're not saying it has to be completed. We want to see the septic system's approved by the health department.
Okay.
Make sure that you have a fire suppression system that's acceptable to our fire department.
Yeah.
I think our police department pretty much doesn't have any issues, except that whoever is going to be managing the bar, I would assume, and, they've already provided us enough information. And then obviously, our building, our CPC, and so on, just as long as I think those checks and balances are done, then it's easy for us to go ahead and consider approving a liquor license. That doesn't mean you have to have the work done. Steve, have you probably done more license than anybody here on the board? Is that normally how it works?
Actually, it's gone both ways, depending upon the site and the extensive amount of work that needs to be done. My inclination is to support your application, but I also have to know that it's going to work there and that you're actually going to make the investment. You don't even know how much it's going to cost you to do the septic yet.
Right.
That may be a
That would
deal
be
breaker.
That would be a Leno's work.
What's what?
Leno do the septic.
I know it's later, but you have a meeting scheduled with Conservation and the Health Department already? Board of Health?
Board of Health is not.
We're supposed to be, we just have to send in the plan for the plan review.
Have you sent those in
We plan
yet?
to do.
Have you sent, because we haven't
No,
sent
we
those
plan
in.
to, after the meeting.
Right. Again, in the past, we've gone both ways on it, depending upon the site and the location and the amount of permitting that's going to be required. In this particular case, we know that there's going to need to be an upgrade to the septic system there, which is going to be, expensive.
You understand?
So that could be a deal breaker for you. As one of the other members pointed out, I think the chairman pointed out, we do not necessarily want to tie up a liquor license because we're limited by the state as to how many liquor licenses we have available. And we certainly don't want to limit our opportunities to have other people come in and file for an application that might be able to be done on a more timely basis in a better location or may serve the public a little bit better. Again, from my vantage point, I would be inclined to support what your idea is here and what you're looking to do, and I know that you've signed the lease, all contingent upon getting the liquor license and all the rest. But I would concur that you should probably get some definitive plans for the septic, find out what that's going to cost you, run it through the health department, and see if they're going to approve it, because that's the biggest thing. I know you're on the agenda for the Conservation Commission, so there's going to be some issues associated with that. So that way, you'll have a full picture, we'll have a full picture as to whether or not it's viable for you to do it. So I'd be somewhat reluctant to tie up a license unnecessarily. But I don't want you to go away thinking that I'm not inclined to support. Because again, I think the plaza needs some life. I think what you're offering and proposing could help, most certainly, as far as that location, that whole plaza. But again, from a town standpoint, from our vantage point, I think we need to protect the town's interests as far as, because we have a finite number of licenses available, and I know that there's some other things percolating out here as far as other people of interest looking at other locations for liquor licenses. We may need it. So to tie it up unnecessarily here for 5 months or more.
It's basically, that what our plan is, to sell the new restaurants, our plan is once we get approval of the liquor license, and then we're submitting the whole application to the ABCC. So in the meantime, we'll file for the building permit and submit the permit to the Board of Health. Then, once we got a building permit approved, then we'll be a start building out a restaurant. So that will take us about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, but again, as Mr. Prisco, Mr. Delaney pointed out, I'm not worried about you building it out before you get your license. I wouldn't
Right.
gamble on that myself. I would say, get your plans approved.
Right.
In more particular,
Incoming.
the septic is more important than anything else there.
All right.
Because that particular location is over our aquifer,
Yeah.
so the requirements and stipulations of that septic system are going to be pretty well scrutinized. That's gonna be your biggest hurdle. As far as what you do inside from the design and how you're gonna sell your product, that's entirely up to you.
I believe, from my understanding, when I spoke with one of my neighbors representative, and they says they will have sorting system of the outside work hearing, believe it's sometime next week, middle of the August. I mean, if I got a point, if I have the right information, then they said sometime middle of August.
I think you have a hearing tomorrow evening before Conservation regarding
Conservation.
septic.
Right.
Are you aware of that?
Or maybe the landlord
No,
does.
the
Is it
landlord
you or the
will do
landlord?
job.
Okay.
They know,
Alright.
this is,
Yeah.
Okay.
we're not doing the job. The
Right.
landlord, they
Okay.
have, their part to do the job. If their sorting system or thing is not proof, so the lease will be, will be no good. We'll not be able to do anything.
But at that point, if we take a vote tonight and approve your liquor license, now we have a liquor license out there we approve for you.
But if. I
You
mean,
have it, we have no place, you have no place to serve alcohol.
No, by tomorrow, if you approve my liquor license, but this is not a final proof, we still have to submit.
I
to
know,
the
but
ABCC.
what you're asking us to do is do it contingent upon all regulatory.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, that could tie it up for months, and then never come to fruition, and then we would have lost opportunities for other people who may want to come in and we may have something better. So, to me, you're gonna have to go through the steps of finding out whether or not the project is viable, specifically the septic system. That's the key. I don't think this board is the obstacle here, or the license necessarily. And I don't
I agree.
mean to prejudge anybody's predisposition to anything.
That-
But to me, it's whether or not it's viable. Before we tie up a liquor license, we want to know that it's viable too.
Again, I mean, if town has approved our liquor license, or says sometime, as soon as we find out, sometime next week or week after, as soon as we find out the sorting system is not being approved or whatever, we knew we're not gonna do anything.
Right.
And then we'll be returning it.
My suggestion to you is, and we haven't really opened the hearing, is to open the hearing and then continue it until mid-September, our second meeting in September, which give you plenty of time to go get the septic system approved, find out what it
Probably
means.
tomorrow we will
And then,
know.
so we'll
Yeah,
continue
when I
the
get-
hearing to the second week of September, our second meeting in September, and then we'll know where we're at. And if you have an approved plan, then you know it's viable. We know that we're issuing a license to a viable location that works for you to make the investment that you're looking to make. So instead of, I don't think anybody's looking to turn you down this evening. I think we'd be more than willing to open the hearing, and continue it to a definitive time and place, which will be the second meeting in September, whatever that is, at 7:10 PM. And then that way, it'll give you 3 or 4 weeks here to get your plans submitted and approved by the Board of Health, which is the key one, and Conservation. And then we'll have a bigger picture, a better picture as to whether you really can afford to move forward or not. And then we consider it. That would be my suggestion, once you open the hearing.
I agree. Yeah, I'll leave it to you. If you want us to take a vote this evening, we'll take a vote. I think